Hi, today I'm starting to install a sprinkler system around our house. It's been a long time since we wanted one, and finally it's time to do it. So I'm gonna show you step by step how I've done it. Keep in mind, I'm not an expert, I'm not a professional. You should ask a professional how to do it and check your local rules and laws. And I'm not gonna take 5 minutes to make an introduction about sprinkler systems. Everyone knows what it is and what it's used for. So I'm gonna jump right ahead to it with connecting it from the main line inside the house and then running the pipes outside. So let's go. Before we start, I would like to apologize about the mess. Our basement is really full of stuff and we don't have any other storage, so I had to improvise and I have a lot of stuff, but I tried to make all the things that I'm gonna working be on accessible. This is the water meter. When I talked to the city inspector, he said I should go as close as I can after the water meter, after the first valve there, somewhere by that elbow. But this is not really accessible to me, and there would have to be soldering involved. And I decided, and I asked him if that's okay. I decided to go up, over, and then connect it to that PEX pipe right here. I'm gonna connect a T extension and run another PEX line all the way along that I joist, and then I'm gonna drill a hole over there, and that's where the line is gonna go, and then that's where the back pressure valve is going to be installed. This is that valve that prevents the backflow coming into your clean water from the outside. It prevents dirty water coming back into the system and poisoning you. This was over $100, $105, I think, but I think it's gonna be worth it. And most cities require this to have nowadays. You have to have this, and it's for your own good, and it's your house wouldn't pass an inspection without this. So this is what I'm gonna be installing on the outside, and it goes on the highest corner, highest elevator corner on your house. Actually, it has to be higher than your highest sprinkler. So let's put it that way. They're saying about 6 inches, but mine is gonna be way more than that. So I just wanna make sure that I do this correctly, and conveniently that part of the house, that corner, is on a really good spot where this is gonna fit exactly as I want it to fit. This is where I'm gonna install that back pressure valve right here next to this line. This is from the sump pump. It comes out from the basement and it goes down into the ground and into the sewer system. So I measured 5 inches from here, from that eye joist on the other side of the eye joist where this pipe is located. So I'm gonna have that PEX pipe come right here. Now I'm not supposed to run the PEX pipe outside because of the UV lights or something, but I'm gonna use CPVC on this side, on the outside of the house. The city inspector said that I'm not supposed to use PVC in the house for the water or even outside the house. Most YouTube videos that I watched or pictures that I saw had PVC pipes on the outside, and he's saying that I'm not supposed to do that, so I got these poly pipes in rolls. I got 900 feet of them, so I'm going to show you that right in a minute. Here is the poly pipe that I'm going to be using. There's 800 feet here. I have another roll of 100 feet down in the basement, so I got 900 total. I think I went a little bit more than I needed, but local stores had only this, and I think I'm gonna do these next week, and I don't wanna run out. I don't want to dig everything and then find out that I don't have any pipes available, so I ran out and bought them, and then if I need to return them, I'll just return them. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna shut off that valve and make sure there is no water in the system. And one more time, before you do anything around the water, make sure you know what you're doing, because you don't want a high bill after you've done something wrong. So that this is shut. Let's go outside, and we're gonna go to the lowest point of the house, which is conveniently, in my case, on the outside. There's an outside faucet I'm just gonna drain the water from. Okay, here we go. Just gonna let it drain. Might take a while because this is all the water from the system from the inside. Before we cut it, make sure you use a bucket, because there's some water gonna be left in the system, and you see it's still draining here. So use a bucket. Now, before I install this here, I'm gonna install this on another piece of expert. I'm gonna run to that other side because I have a valve there. Hopefully you can hear me now from that water dripping. It's still dripping out of the system. So I'm gonna be installing this valve right after that T, because this is gonna be the main shutoff for the sprinkler system, and you have to have one. It has a drain valve too, so in the winter you can just drain the water out of it. Since this is on the highest point of the house, I don't think there's going to be much water to drain from, but it's still a nice thing to have. So what you do is measure from here, maybe around 10 inches or so, and then install that valve, and then I'm gonna keep going with the PEX pipe to the outside of the house. So let's do that. So here we go. I think it would be easier for me to do this right here and then just connect it up there. It's more convenient. I guess it doesn't matter, but I think it's gonna be easier for me. So I'm gonna go 12 inches from that T just to give it a little bit more room, I guess. So right here, doesn't have to be exact. 12 inches. Okay, we don't need this for now. And so this is gonna go on this end. Right here, you just push it in. Well, you know, usually you're not supposed to. You're supposed to do the ring first, so. And then push it in. Okay. Place the ring like so. Give it maybe like 3/8 of an inch from the end. Make sure it's snug all the way in, and then use the pinching tool. Okay. And you just press down like so. And then this little check tool comes with it to make sure that this is correct width. If it's pinched correctly, it will fit here. If it's not, it won't fit at all. So I guess it fits. Okay. And then we're gonna put the valve on the other side. So I'm gonna have it upside down like this. So it's accessible easier from the downside, and it's going to be conveniently located on our side, not against the wall. Now you want to make sure that this part is pointing towards the outside, because this has to release the water that's coming back from the outside, not the other way around, then you'll be releasing your own water and it will never stop from your system. So just make sure this is pointing outside, okay? So got this here. Don't forget the ring. Install the rings first on both sides of pipes. Put this here. I'm gonna go here first and then here. Okay. Position the rings, put it here, lift this up, and then pinch it. There we go. Now, as you can see, I'm using 3/4 of an inch pipe because the line that goes after the water meter is 3/4 of an inch anyway. It doesn't make sense to do 1 inch. It will do no good. If this was a 1 inch pipe all the way down, I'd probably use a 1 inch to run to the outside at least. But it doesn't make sense to do 1 inch. It's not going to do anything. So let's release the water, see if it's going to hold. So I'm going to do it slowly. You can hear it. It will take some time to fill the whole system, I guess. Now, next step is to connect the blue PEX pipe that's going to go to our valve right here, and then that will be connecting to this CPVC pipe that goes to the outside. So this is a CPVC pipe that can go inside the house, and they have this orange yellow stripe, so that's how you can make a difference between these and those white PVC pipes. So we're gonna have to connect this to here, and then this is gonna go here, and this end will go here to this. So I'm gonna do this first. Use some plumber tape, and then we're gonna connect this here. Here we go. Now we're gonna connect this part to the PEX pipe. This is where the water pipe is going to come out, right here on the other side of that eye joist, and I'm going to measure 5 inches from here to here and then drill a hole. So right here. Make a hole bigger, like this. Here's that hole we made for that pipe to go outside, and we're gonna connect that PEX pipe and then have the CPVC part stick out over there so we can connect that back pressure valve. First I'm gonna measure this distance and take this pipe up there and then see how far it can stick out. I'm gonna leave some room on the outside and see how far that can go. And I'm gonna go outside and see if I have enough pipe sticking out. So I'm gonna take you with me. Yep, we have more than enough. So I can even pull it back, but I'm not going to, because I want to be able to install that back pressure. I want to have some room to play with. I'm probably going to have to cut it a little bit, I guess. Well, I decided to do this part first and then go outside and then determine how long that pipe is going to stick out. So I'm going to do this first. I'm going to connect these two. Oops. So this is going to go right here. Go inside. Push it quarter of a turn. Okay. And then wipe off the excess. We're going to do a small pipe here. Really small one. We don't want it to stick out too much. So this should be enough. Just gonna prime it. Prime it on the inside. 2. Then cement it. Put some cement on the inside. Do a little bit more here because the bottle said so. Do it twice. Push it in. And turn it quarter of an inch turn. And then do the elbow too. So we're gonna push it in all the way in. And then turn it. So this is it. This will go on the outside. This is the part where the water comes in. Comes out from the house, goes into the valve, the back pressure valve, and goes outside, goes down towards the ground to the sprinkler system. Now we measured our pipe line on the outside and we set it up to stick out the way I want it to. We're gonna cut this PEX pipe here and then connect it to the valve. Measurement here and cut it. Put the ring on and then push it all the way in here. Like this. Set the ring and then pinch it. Push it in. Now that this is done, I wanted to put in a piece of 2x4 here. Okay, nice. Now we have to install our back pressure valve, but before we do that, I'm gonna clean up a little bit here, clean up the ground from these rocks. This is we're gonna have to dig anyway. Now we're gonna connect these pipes here, do some primer, and then I'm gonna do some cement. So I'm just gonna prepare like this, push it all the way in, like this, and then twist it. Now it's time to connect these valves. I'm gonna have 3 zones and I'm gonna do this here on the inside where it's easier to work on. I'm gonna prepare everything and then put it in that box outside. So these valves control your zones and they open up each zone individually. For example, if you have 3 to 5 or 8 sprinkler heads in one zone, they will get controlled by this timer. So once you set it up here to your desired time and when they're supposed to be open up, they will do so. And the reason why you have them is because most sprinkler systems cannot handle all the sprinkler heads at the same time. That's why you have to go separately for each zone. You have to turn on each zone, and after that zone is done watering the lawn, then this timer will go to the next zone and to next zone and so on. And this, depending on the size of your yard, you may need 1 zone or 12 zones. So there is a formula for that where you can measure your water pressure and water flow, and then you take your the kind of sprinkler heads you're using, and then you find out the precipitation rate, and there's all kinds of formulas around that, but I'm gonna try to avoid that. I'm gonna test it before I put it in. I'm gonna see how far these sprinkler heads will throw, and judging by that, I'm gonna spread them apart that much. You'll see later what I'm talking about. So this is your water flow. The water flows this way. So this part here is coming from your water source, usually from your house, and this goes towards your sprinkler. So this valve goes to the outside. Usually they have it set up like this, but I think I'm gonna try to set it up like this, because my zones, 2 of them will go this way once they come out of the house, and 1 zone will go this way. If I put it this way, then I have to go here and then go back and then come here, and I don't think I'm gonna have enough room in that box on the outside. So I'm probably gonna go like this. First thing here, we have to screw these fittings into the valves, and then we're gonna cut off a small piece of pipe and put it right here, and then cement it here and here and here and here and here and so on. So I'm gonna prepare this, use the plumber's tape, and then get all these prepared here. When I use a plumber's tape, I usually start at the end of the thread, and then you work your way towards the other end, and then come back, and then you finish at the end as well. That way when you screw in your other part, it will start right here. It won't mess this up, the plumber's tape, because the end of the plumber's tape and the finish is right here at the beginning. So once you start screwing, it will cover that and it won't push it outside. So here we go. I screw this in. And I use this just to tie a little bit. This is plastic and we don't want this to break, so just be very careful. It should be enough. While I'm going to prepare the other side too for our poly pipe. So once we install this, it's ready. We can just attach the poly pipe right here to this end. It's kind of inconvenient to put this sticker right here. We're gonna hand tighten these because they, I guess that's what they made these little handles here for, so you don't use the pliers like I did. I'm just gonna try to make it flat like this, so when I lay it on the ground, this doesn't stick out. Okay, nice and tight. So I'm gonna do some measurements and start cementing these. So from here to here, I want this to be in the middle of my box. So this is gonna be 11 inches, so we're gonna make it 11. So the middle is 5.5 right here. So we're gonna put the middle of this elbow right here at 5.5 mid. I'm gonna measure this, and this is gonna be roughly, I'm gonna say 4.25. So we need a piece of pipe that's 4.25 inches long. Now we're gonna cut some pipe. We said 4.25. I think this looks okay. Now it's becoming interesting. So this is what it's gonna look inside. Right here, I have to adjust this a little bit more, make it more level. But anyway, our valves are gonna go right here, like so. Okay, and I have to cut this out right here on the bottom of this box to be able to go through with the poly pipes. So cut it out right here, and then this part I'm gonna cut this out too, so I'm able to work on this, pull this box out and put it down after I'm done, so it can go around this pipe right here. Make this a little bit more accessible. Make it flat, nice and even, and then test it again. So I'm gonna step on it to leave a mark where I want it to be. And this pipe goes right down here, and then we can go inside with it. So, and I'm also gonna put some of these white rocks on the bottom to make it look nice, and also make it not muddy. So the rocks. This is just a little protection tube that I put here around. I'm gonna lift it up when this is done, or maybe I can just leave it like this. Doesn't matter, as long as I wanted to protect this from an impact. So this box will go on top here, like this. And I'm gonna put more rocks on the inside. Let me show you. I guess I made some mess right here. It's really hot outside, it's 90 degrees, and it's really humid. So I'm not exactly having fun, but yeah, this is what it's gonna look like. And I'm gonna put more of these rocks around it once this is done. So I'm gonna go on the other side and then connect this to the first valve here. That's gonna be my zone 1. And I wanna make a little test to see how those sprinklers are gonna work. I put 9 on this, connected 9 of the sprinklers to this here. I'm gonna leave it above the ground, so it's just a test to see how far they're gonna spray. Let's go and see about that. I'm gonna pull this box out again. So this is nice that I did this here. Cut this out so I can put it in back in and test it, see how it's gonna work. And then give me, at the same time, give me more room to work on this, because it would be really hard to work inside that box. So I'm gonna connect this poly pipe. Make sure there is no dirt. Okay, here we go. Okay, put this here, put this ring here, and pinch it. Okay, nice and tight. So that's where that hole is for that access for the other side. So I'm gonna go up there, and then that's the poly hose, the tube that I connected to those valves. So I'm just gonna bring it here and then connect it to my tests. You'll see in a minute what I'm talking about. So I'm just gonna do this here so it doesn't come up, and I'm gonna try to slowly unwind this. This is a 100 feet hose. I got 9 of these, and I hope this will be enough for my project. And then by having 100 feet hose long, I'm gonna simulating this setup. Now I connected the system to that reel valve that goes through that reel back pressure valve and the inline valve. That way, when I connect these 9 sprinklers to the zone, these testing sprinklers, I'm gonna have a real pressure that I'm supposed to get once I build these underground. I could have connected this little testing network to a regular faucet, but that wouldn't give me the pressure I'm getting from this, because there is some water flow and pressure going to be lost when it goes to the back pressure valve and through the inline valve. This way I am having a real setup. Here we go. Now we're gonna connect this and see if it works. I'm glad I got to this part. I was kind of getting worried. Now this end I would have cut off, but now it's just a test system, so I'm not gonna, I have to get a little fast here. I'm gonna go here as much as I can without heating these up and pinch it. Okay, now we can get ready to test it. Okay, so now we're gonna release this valve and see how this has been holding, you know, everything I've done. Do it slowly. Okay, so far. Okay, now I got the water pressure in. I'm gonna see how this holds up. So there is one valve here, and this is on. And then here's, I'm gonna make sure these are tight. Okay, so let me see. Okay, holding, good. So I'm gonna go here, turn this. It's good. Okay, so all these sprinkler heads are from Hunter. The one in that corner is Rainbird, and looks like that one is throwing the water the furthest. It's well over 15 feet, while these here are almost 15, not quite 15, maybe around 12 to 15 feet. So I'm gonna measure it and see, because I was gonna go with the Rainbird originally anyway, but they ran out, so I thought maybe I would compare these two. But Rainbird is definitely, it throws the water a little bit better, and I can see that there is more flow to it, and it throws it further. So I'm gonna try to adjust them a little bit and see after adjustment how far they're throwing and the radius and all that, but I'm pretty sure that I'm gonna go with the Rainbirds. I would like to show you a map that I drew of my backyard and my house, and I kind of try to figure out all the zones and all the lines, all the sprinkler heads, all the positions before I even started digging or determining the zones. So I got some of the sprinkler heads here, and then orange is the trenches that I was going to dig. And here are the sprinkler heads, rough position. So this is the house, the driveway, sidewalk. This should be zone 1, zone 2 right here, and then zone 3 in the back. I'm not putting that many sprinklers in the back because this is usually moist and it doesn't need that much watering here, and I have other plans for this portion and this portion here. And now here, this is the final sprinkler head positions that I drew here based on my tests when I figured out how far the water will go and how many sprinkler heads I can use per zone. So for example, this is zone 1, orange. So 1, 2, 3 of the sprinkler heads that can shoot water up to almost 30 feet. And these are the smaller ones that go up to 15 feet. So I figured this would be zone 1. And then zone 2 right here. And zone 3, these 3 sprinkler heads. And then 1, 2, 3 here too. So I spread them out evenly to have the same amount of sprinkler heads in each zone. And based on my test, I figured that I could have probably around 7, 8 sprinkler heads in one zone that can cover them easily with enough water. Today we are digging. I have the marking here for the sprinkler lines. The red dots are where the sprinkler heads are supposed to go, and the yellow lines are the lines for my trenches. And I had utilities marked out called 811, so they came out, marked them. Yellow is gas, orange is power, and red is cable. And it goes all the way here down through my neighbor's yard. And then if you're about to dig right here, then you're supposed to do it by hand and be really careful. And for everything else, you're using this. This is a really heavy machine, and it's supposed to dig 18 inches deep, and I think I'm gonna go 12. There is no need for more. This is a big machine, and well, not that big, it's just heavy. You have to push it. It's not self-propelled, so you actually pull it back. And it's gonna be a heavy machine to handle, so we'll see how that works. So let's go to work. It's time to lay the pipes now. Since I'm gonna have 3 zones, I marked each tube because some of them are gonna use the same trench. So I'm gonna have 2 or 3 tubes in the same trench, and I need to know how to differentiate them. So I marked yellow for one zone and then red for another zone, and then for the third one I'm gonna figure that one out. But anyway, so that's how I know which zone is which pipe. For example, here this red one is gonna go right here all the way there, and the other one is a yellow one, and that's underneath, that goes over all the way to the other side. So this is what we have so far. I have these drainage pipes that I did myself. Oops. So the yellow color is probably going to be zone 2, and the red will be zone 3. That's remaining will be zone 1, and zone 1 is going to go from there. That's where my valves are, and then it's going to go through these trenches over there on the other side, and then one of them, zone red, will also go to that other side. So you gotta figure this out before you start digging, which zone is gonna go where. I'm gonna show you that on a piece of paper, how I mapped it out. But this is what it looks for now. Before I show you how to connect all these pipes and poly tubing, I want to show you all these different fittings that I'm going to be using, and it depends on the size of the pipes you are going to be using. So I'm using 3/4 of an inch throughout the yard, and then I'm reducing it to 1/2 inch before the head sprinkler. You're supposed to leave at least 2 feet of the 1/2 inch piping before you come to the sprinkler head, because that's the rating on them, I suppose. And then also the thread on the back of the sprinkler head is 1/2 inch wide. So you're going to be using these T connections here whenever you have a line that's about to split, and there are a lot of these. These are same essentially, and some of them you're just going to be using. They look like, and this is a 90-degree angle, and some of them are same like that. So you're going to be using these rings that you put on the pipe, and then you insert them inside, and you use the pinch tool to go all the way here. Sometimes it's hard to insert them, so you can use a torch to heat them up, and that's what we're going to be using today. So you heat it up, slide it inside all the way to here, and then use the pinch tool to pinch it here and make it more secure. And then you can use these fittings, use the thread here. Make sure you use the plumber tape for the thread. For this kind of connection, you don't have to use the plumber tape, you just slide it inside. So this is 3/4 of an inch pipe, this is 1/2 inch pipe, and then you use this little tool to cut it. And you're going to be using all these different fittings depending on the position of the pipe and depending on your needs. And they have tens of different sizes and angles and threads. So let's go and try to connect some of these. This here is zone 2, and then some of these sprinklers have to be connected to this zone, and this is zone 1. This zone goes all the way down there around, and zone 2 finishes here. So that's why we have to cut this one, and I marked it. So throughout the whole backyard, red color means zone 2, and yellow and red is zone 1, and yellow is zone 3. So right now this is going to be the red zone here. So I'm going to make a connection here, cut it, and then use a T. This is a T with 3/4 of an inch on 2 sides and a reduction to 1/2 inch on this side. So preparing the rings and preparing the T, and then here we're going to use a 1/2 inch pipe. So these go a little bit hard, and we have to warm them up with a torch. Go all the way to here, and then once this cools down we can pinch it. And then we're going to do the next one. Push it in all the way to the end. And now we need to cut a piece of 1/2 inch pipe that's going to go to the sprinkler head here. And we're going to be using this sprinkler head here on this corner, and it will go inside like this. We have to put some plumber tape first on the threads. And we're going to do the same thing here. Prepare the rings, put them on, and then heat this up. use. Slide them fast inside before they cool down. Okay, like this. And now all we have to do is pinch these rings. Make sure they're close to the end, but not too close. Roughly like this. And pinch it hard. Same thing on this side. And here. And then on this side. And now we screw this sprinkler head on top. I don't go all the way down. So I'll leave myself some room if I have to correct it later on. And put it back in. And then we're gonna grab some dirt and put. This is the first testing phase for zone 1, and I think this is working. I have good pressure, everything is covered, and everything is even overlapping once or even twice. So I just have to adjust some of these heads, adjust the directions where they are shooting, and the radius, and probably the reach too, because it's going over to the street. But all in all, I'm really satisfied. Everything turned out great. I have no leaks, and it's doing its job. So yeah, I think I did good. And we're gonna test the next phase now, next zone. Okay, so here we're shutting off the zone 1. And then we're gonna manually turn on zone 2. After all the pipes are laid down, then we buried back everything in. The dirt and the gravel went back in, and everything is flat now. So now all I have to do is adjust these sprinkler heads, which are located on the corners in the backyard. So this is one of those rotating RSA32, I believe, rainbirds, and you have to adjust them. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Here is one of the sprinkler heads that I installed. This is Rainbird 32 SA rotating head. So this one rotates 360 degrees, and it can throw water 19 to 32 feet depending on your pressure and your setup. And the way you set up these is you turn this all the way to the left, and this is your starting point to the left, and this will rotate to the right now. So when you go all the way to the right, this is the end. Now it will spray water from this point to the left until this point to the right. So when you put them inside the ground, you twist it and until this arrow here points to the left for this point you want the sprinkler head to go to. And then you adjust this screw here, you turn it to the right where the plus sign is, and that will give it a bigger angle here. So when you turn it, now you're getting a bigger degree of turning. So last time it went all the way to here, but now that we turned the screw, it went all the way to here. So if you continue to do that, it will go even further. So you go back, and turn this, and it went even further. So now it's almost to the 360 degree angle. Now also you can adjust the distance it throws the water from 19 to 32 feet, and I think you can even go further than that depending on your pressure. So in order to do that, you can also have this on and then hold this head, keep it from rotating while it's on, and then you use this screw and twist it, turn it to your desired length. And it's simple as that. It sounds complicated, but it really isn't. So let's go outside, and I'm just gonna take a video from a distance. I'm not gonna go close with my camera so I don't soak it, but now you know how to do this, and then I'm just gonna show you the way I do it from the distance. So let's go. So what I'm gonna do here is it's gonna be hard to adjust these sprinklers while you're throwing water, so I'm gonna turn them all on, all the zones I'm gonna be turning on, and that way I have a smaller flow and I can adjust the ankles, the degrees accordingly, so it will throw a little bit less water, so to a smaller distance. So I gotta turn it right until this starting point on the left goes all the way to where it's supposed to go, and then meantime I'm gonna make a smaller degree here. Now this is a different head. This is a Hunter Pro Spray, and this is a smaller head, and the way you adjust this, you can turn the head to a desired direction, and you can hold it and turn the top part to make a bigger or smaller angle like this. See, if this is a smaller angle, now you can turn it wherever you want, and then if you want a bigger angle, you just hold the lower part of the head and twist the upper kind of wheel-shaped head right here. So I want to have this sprinkler head to take care of the lawn here and of the garden bed over there. But since we have this little walkway, then I don't want to spray over there. I want it to go just enough to the garden bed. It is now time to go to the next step, and that is installing one of these. This is a controller, and this will control your zones, and it will make sure that they are turned on in a sequence at a certain time of the day and certain days of the week. In order to do that, we have to run the wires from the check valves all the way to this controller, depending on where you're going to be installing it. I'm going to be installing it inside, probably in my garage, because it's easier for me to access it. Some people install them on the outside, but to me that doesn't make sense in my case, because I want it to be inside and ready whenever I need to do adjustments. So let's do it. You probably remember this part from the beginning of my video, and it's a rather lengthy video, I know that, but I'm trying to do every step recorded as I go. So I'm gonna run the wire next to this pipe all the way outside, and then I'm gonna go through these existing holes in the eye joists, and this is the ceiling of my basement, and then go all the way over there, and that's where my garage is. So I'm gonna drill a hole somewhere up there and then go to the garage wall and then install it on the outside of the garage and install it on the inside of the garage. Keep in mind you have to have power access available. You have to plug this into your regular electrical outlet besides these 24-volt wires that you're going to be running to check valves on the outside. I'm going to be using these 18-gauge wires. For each zone you need one wire, and then you need one ground wire. So altogether I need 4 wires to have 3 zones installed on my sprinkler system, and they're going to run from the outside to that controller that I just showed you. I got 2 50 feet wires because I'm not sure if 50 feet will be enough, so I wanted to try a 100 feet long one, but I couldn't, so I got 2 50 feet wires. And then also I have these waterproof connectors that I'm going to be using outside, because these are prone to weather and rain, and in case there's water inside that box on the outside, these are waterproof and they will not let your connections be damaged or your system due to moisture or to water. So let's go outside and start installing the wires. Here's that wire, comes here to the other side, and I drilled a hole right here inside this box, and I'm gonna dig a little trench here and then put this wire inside the ground. I'm probably gonna use a piece of that poly pipe and protect it while it's inside in the ground, and then I'm going to leave this a little bit longer so we can use it for these check valves, but this will come last. Let's run the wire first. This is the place where I'm going to be installing the irrigation timer or the controller. I'm going to put it right here in this corner inside the garage. I already have the wires here, and this is just enough. I have 50 feet and I just have a little bit left over, so this is going to be perfect. So I'm just going to install it right here, and then don't forget about the power. The power is going to come actually from up there, from the garage motor. There's a plug there, and I'm just going to run an extension cord down there, over there, and down there, since I don't have any electrical outlets available here in this area, and my garage only has 2 of them anyway, and they're on the other side, and they're all occupied. So I'm just gonna be doing this right here in this corner, which is really accessible when I want to go outside, or if I'm right here in the garage doing something, and I can just change the settings right here. So this is gonna be enough right here, and so we have to use white wire for the common ground, and then I have a yellow zone there already, and I have a red zone, and now I have to decide whether I use the green one or the blue one. So I'm just gonna go with green because I like green. The blue one, I'm just gonna cut it off right here because I don't need it. Instead of going the original way through the basement, I decided to go around this way, around the front of the house with the wire. So it was a little bit easier and I needed less wire. I'm gonna bury that wire underground here. I think this will just fit perfectly. This one right here. Now this here, it doesn't matter which wire you use for what. You can use both for the same thing, because these wires are identical. So you can use either one for ground and use the other wire for your colored wire for your zone. So I'm gonna connect the first wire here to the ground and then add an extra wire, an extra ground wire to it. Okay, so we're connecting one wire from the check valve, the ground wire from my cable, and an extra piece of wire that's gonna go to the next check valve. And I'm gonna use these waterproof connectors. So this is my yellow zone, and I'm gonna use a yellow wire for this remaining wire on the check valve. Use another connector, twist it real good. So I'm gonna use the next, this is my next ground wire, and I'm gonna use this ground wire from the first check valve along with the ground wire for the next check valve, and another piece of white wire that's gonna go to the third. Use one more connector here, push it in and twist it until you can feel that it's whole. So I'm gonna use the other wire for the second check valve and put it on the red wire here because that's our red zone. Use a connector and connect it. Okay, so I'm gonna use this next ground wire from the third check valve, and since we have no remaining zones, no remaining check valves, this is going to be the last ground wire, and we don't need that additional piece of white wire. And this remaining wire from the third check valve we're going to connect to the green wire, so zone 1 will be green wire. Okay, here we go. Now we're connecting all these wires to the timer here. We just have to strip them off a quarter of an inch each and then insert them in the zones. And push it right here and then push the wire in, pull it, it stays there. Okay, so here we go. So zone 1 is going to be green. Zone 2 is going to be yellow. And zone 3 will be red. Okay, so it stays there. Okay, and now I'm gonna connect it to power. I'm gonna plug it in right here, and it goes like this. Or maybe not. Okay. So the way you test this, you turn the dial to one of the zones. I'm gonna turn it to zone 1, and then you press the water zone now, water 1 zone now, and it should start. Everything is ready here to use. I got this secured too. The timer / controller is almost ready. I conceal it right here, and then put a extension cord right here above the garage door, and I have to finish this yet here, but it's ready. So zone one will turn on at 8 p.m. run for 20 minutes, zone 2 8:20, zone 3 8:40, each for 20 minutes. And this is it. Thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and that would be really nice from you if you do subscribe. Thanks.